progress.
Okay, so let me do that again. Thanks everyone for joining. This is FOCIL Breakout number 7 already, which is pretty nice. And we've got a good group of people working on it. So yeah, before we start talking about maybe implementation progress and blockers and so forth, I just want to give a very small update of what we've been talking about recently. So we were at an offsite together with a lot of researchers at DF, and yeah, one thing I want to highlight is like FOSL has been brought up a lot, um, both in terms of like how it plays into the future of the protocol, how it introduces like a new primitive almost by like imposing some constraints, and also like it was like ranked quite high in terms of how crucial it is for the protocol in the future by a lot of teams and researchers, which is always nice to see. Now the question is also like how it integrates with other like upgrades as always, but like still overall like very positive sentiment, I guess. And so you'll see like probably quite a lot of different things pop up in the next few days. One just did like a few minutes ago, so I'm gonna start with this. Um, yeah, first of all, want to announce with Barnaby's tweet that there is a new protocol research call that we are going to try out, and the pilot is going to be on April 2nd, and the like this kind of new protocol research call will probably serve as like a focal point for researchers and devs to try and clarify the network's goals and what we want to focus on in from like the research perspective, I guess, but like very close to the protocol still in the next month, years, and more. So I think like it's going to be structured as approaching a few very crucial core questions we need to address as researchers and devs and more generally as the community. And the first call is going to focus on local building and the future of local block building. I think it's a super interesting topic and it actually links a ton with Fossil. So if you read the post, you'll see like Fossil basically mentioned everywhere because the TLDR is, well, I've said this like a few times, but there is quite a strong argument that Fossil can help with scaling, but not in like the usual way of like just like increasing the gas limit um or like any other like sort of parameter change. But like rather because it sort of serves like as a very, very important first step to relieve local block builders of the duty of upholding censorship resistance for the network. So yeah, the TLDR is that today we do quite heavily rely on local block builders to include transactions that are censored by the more like sophisticated, large MEV boost block builders. Um, and so we sort of like, I mean, implicitly rely on them to contribute to improve the network's CR properties. I know Tony has been working on this also lately, and you also have like MEV boost builders that are including sensor transactions. So they are not the only ones contributing to the network's censorship resistance, but they do play a role today. And so when we introduce FOSL, we basically create a new role, so which is participating as an includer, and that role is like specifically tailored to contributing to censorship resistance. And so this means it's a first step, so we don't have to rely on local block builders for censorship resistance. And so I mean, there are other considerations about liveness, and one also like very important part is like to actually have a robust censorship resistant mechanism for blobs as well, which is, I think, a very, very high priority if we want to make that argument. But once we have this, we can basically confidently say that local builders can now outsource their block production to external MapBoost builders, um, and earn more revenue because now by doing local block building, basically they earn a lot less than just by using MapBoost. And they can do that like guilt free because they know like the FOCIL or like the includers will be responsible for CR now. Um, and so, yeah, if we, yeah, and FOCIL will impose constraints on the, external sophisticated block builders, which is not the case today. So if we do that, um, that means we can basically now impose higher maybe bandwidth or hardware requirements on the builders that are like supposed to be sophisticated maybe. And this is a good argument for scaling. So that's like the TLDR. I think the post of Barnaby goes obviously much more into the details. If you have time to read it, that would be great also to have your feedback and also have you guys attend the research, the new research protocol research call will be very nice. I don't know if there are any questions on this per se. Otherwise, we can move on. Okay, nice. So if we have no question, that means everyone agrees FOSL can be a good candidate for scaling, which is great. Um, I guess next on the agenda is more like focusing around um, implementation progress. I know there has been a lot of work and back and forth on rebasing FOSL on Electra. And I know Jihoon wanted to discuss this. Maybe that's a good place to start. But yeah, I know like a lot of you guys have actually like tried to work that out.
Yes, so thank you for bringing me up. So last time we agreed to rebase onto Electra because if Blue, if peer doesn't merge, then we're gonna have a problem with it. So we wanna just get independent from it. And since then, I've been working on rebasing Prism onto Electra. The PR is still on review, so the test is not complete yet, but behavior-wise, I think it's usable-ish, but please be aware that there might be some unknown bug. And so with that, we are trying to work on the CL interrupt between Prism and Lodestar. I think we can also use Lighthouse as well. But another thing I want to discuss is using EIP 7805 fork in the EL. So GET currently uses Osaka, which is tied to Flu. But now that we are based on Electra, I think we could use Proc or EIP 7805 fork in the EL. So I want to ask what other people think about this.
Yeah, does anyone have any thoughts? Like, I guess this is more directed to EL people. Okay, Terence says yes, but like, do you think we should actually try and get EL people to weigh in on this, or like, is everyone pretty much okay with doing that?
Sorry, you're saying to base it on Osaka? 'Cause, currently that's what I've done.
Yes, but the thing is, Ethereum package, the kurtosis set Osaka time only when Flu fork is set. So we don't want to set Flu fork because that's the whole point of rebasing onto Electra. So I currently just updated get image that doesn't check any fork version so that we can just test the CL interop based on Electra, but this is like a stopgap. So I just wanna know what people wanna do with this fork check condition. Like, do we wanna based on proc time, or do we wanna use EIP 7805 fork, just like how we do in the CL? Or if there is no EL forks here, then maybe you can just delay making a decision, and then we can just use EL that doesn't check fork conditions, so that we can just moving on making CL interop.
So okay, so if I understand correctly, the option is either Osaka, Prague, or like a 7805 fork, right?
Yes, unless we can somehow modify kurtosis so that to set Osaka time when there is EIP 7805 fork is set, but not full fork is set.
Okay. And so what's the cleanest thing you think we should do?
I think we need to gain some feedback from DevOps team regarding this, because they know better about modifying kurtosis. But with if we are talking about just like a very near future, like just a couple of weeks, then we can just omit the fork condition for the sake of CL interrupt. But I think we want to make a decision about this sooner or later.
I guess if we use the Petra timestamp, we'll have no check, and that would mean that we'd have to keep it on a separate branch as well. Whereas if it was in its own fork or Osaka, then it could just be merged into master and not be activated, which might be a bit more convenient.
Yeah, so I think I can ask Perry or Philip regarding this, and then
Okay, that sounds good. Mehdi says maybe EIP 7805 fork will be nice. Yeah, let's maybe delay this decision, and I can also chime in and try to see what DevOps thinks, if that helps. Are there any other progress on the implementation side of things? Like I was traveling quite a lot, so I've followed a bit less closely. So if anyone has like any updates on where they are or any blockers, that would be a great time to chime in.
Yeah, I can give an update from Teku side. Basically, I started running some local interop with Prism. I had some issues with these full fork thing, but thanks to Jihon, I got some help and it's working now. I noticed some issues on Teku though, interacting with the EL. So I'm trying to debug that and fix it. And once I have a working version, I'll probably try to publish a Docker image so other clients can also run interop with Teku.
Nice, awesome. And yeah, the issues you're mentioning are more like Teku specific.
Yeah, somehow. Because actually in Teku we don't have anything follow related. So at the beginning with the initial kurtosis config, when we reached follow, Teku like crashes and doesn't like that. But now since Jihon published some a get image and a new Genesis generator that kind of just goes from Electra to EIP 7805 fork, it's working now. So yeah, we can say that it's Teku specific.
Okay, great. Okay, nice. Yeah, but I mean, it's still linked to in this, sort of rebating on the right fork, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the whole idea behind like not trying to rebase on Fulu was to avoid like dealing with the complexity of like the changes that are gonna happen there. So yeah, I mean, I also think it makes sense to have like Electra and then rebase into uh, a fork that's EIP 705, 7805 specific. No, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. Thanks a lot for the updates.
Welcome.
Does anyone else have updates?
I can maybe quickly talk about Lodestar. So we haven't really done major code changes in like the last weeks. I think mostly NC just joined, I guess. Yeah, but it's mostly what NC I think already told in the op channel. Like there seems to be still a mismatch in the state, but besides that, I think we are good. One implementation question I had is regarding seconds per slot, because I saw a lot of kurtosis configs modify this value, but it currently breaks how we handle the timing parameters, because these are part of the config and basically hard-coded in the config. For example, the cutoff for updating the inclusion list on the execution layer is like at 9 seconds, but if you have 6 seconds per slot, then this is in the next slot, right? So curious how others handle this.
In Tego, for example, we calculate that at runtime. So we get the new values from the config, and then we end up having new values. So yeah, it indirectly changes those cutoff and freeze time, I guess.
But as I okay, but if it's defined as part of the config as it currently is in the spec, I think this is not something you can do, right? Or at least we are not doing that anywhere so far as I know. So I think, I mean, my suggestion previously was to move them completely out of the config and just have them handled in a similar way, like in fork choice, where we have the attester deadline at 4 seconds, which is always calculated on the fly, I guess, what you mentioned, based on seconds per slot.
Terence, did you want to say something?
So I guess the question is, should we update the spec maybe, or yeah.
Yeah, I think there's room for like spec improvements on that, because I think if we change it to 6 seconds per slot, then everything will fail because of currently it's hard coded basically.
Do you know why it has been spec'd out in that way? Because seems like a function of the slot per second anyway.
Yeah, it's just an oversight of the spec. We haven't really thought much about
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Okay, so the way
Oh,
forward,
sorry.
The way forward, I guess,
Sorry.
is to update the spec.
Yes, to be precise, update the spec such that it considers that the seconds per slot could be essentially not a function of 12 seconds. It could be like 6 seconds, or even it could be 4 seconds.
Okay, great. Thanks. Does it answer the question?
Yeah. I think, the main thing is though, like, I guess if that's the case, we need to move it out of config as far as I understand it. But I think that's anyway good, because having these timing parameters in config or even preset sounds like bad, because in the future, if you want to reduce seconds per slot on mainnet, for example, this is like an additional blocker then or something. You need to adapt more value, so it's not good, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Although, arguably, like if the slot times actually get shorter, we'll need to make sure like the timings still work anyways. But yeah, I mean, in principle, for sure, that makes sense. Okay, great. Jihoon, I think I saw a thumbs up, but does it work for you too?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I understood it correctly because last time we talked about this, I thought that we agreed to go with hard-coded value to making that break. But now it seems like improving the spec so that it can be more flexible sounds better. So yeah, I think I'm good with this.
Okay, nice. Great. Um, Anything else? Any new updates from maybe other clients?
For Nethermind, I've kind of fixed the remaining like spec changes. So specifically about adding that new RPC endpoint, because I had to kind of change the way the payload was built a bit because I didn't realize that at first that the inclusion list wasn't necessarily that doesn't necessarily arrive in the fork choice, but can arrive later. So I've got that working. And now I should have a bit more time to do some kind of finish things off and test some like interop.
Okay. Do you mean, so what do you mean by the inclusion list arriving later than the fork choice?
So in the original spec, we had the inclusion list as part of the fork choice updated handler, whereas now it's in a separate RPC endpoint, which is like something like update to include inclusion list. I can't remember the exact name. So whereas before I was assuming that when you get the fork choice, you have the inclusion list. It turns out that you actually get this fork choice, and then later you have to update once the inclusion list arrives.
Okay, I see. Okay, great. Nice. Okay, and that's fixed. So now it's all about like trying to interrupt as well.
Yeah, I have a bit of time now, so I can work on trying to test that out.
Okay, awesome. Great. Thanks. Okay, this is nice. And Ethan, I think you unmuted for a bit.
Yeah, Lighthouse wise, it's not too big of an update, but we've rebased FOCIL on top of Electra. We've added the inclusion list beacon chain events to be compatible with kurtosis again. And we're hopefully ready to continue or try interoperating with other CLs again.
Nice. Okay, great. Awesome. Any other updates? Anyone else? No. Okay. So I mean, it's kind of nice. It feels like everyone is sort of converging towards like the same stage somehow, where it's all about like actually trying to make it work and interrupt with each other, which is very nice. If most of the like client-specific issues have been answered and now it's all about like collaboration, then this is good. Are there any like is there anything we can do to actually like make that work? Like is there like some like meta things we can ask? I guess some of this will actually depend on the DevOps team, but like is there anything else we can do to make the cross like the interrupt between CLs and ELs work better? Like are there like any specific things or is it more about like trying things out and running with it?
I actually discovered a weird behavior on Geth regarding the engine API. So for example, like if I recall the fork choice updated, and then afterwards I immediately called engine get inclusion list,
Geth might return a empty inclusion list because it might not be ready. It's still processing the latest payload. So I need to manually wait for like 4 seconds before calling get inclusion list in order to get like actual content from Geth. I don't know if that's a intended behavior.
I think I need to look into the implementation again. Can I get back to you offline?
Yeah, or at least if the EL is not ready to return inclusion list, instead of returning an empty response, we might want to define like error code or like some special response, like the status is syncing or something, so that like we know EL is not ready instead of returning an empty response.
One thing with the testing environment is that there might be the case that there is actually no transaction in the mempool. So your idea is it would be better to distinguish. It might be better to set an empty case as a some special case like EL is syncing or something else.
Right. Yeah. There should be like some there should be some distinction between the two scenarios.
Gotcha. So if there is no transaction at all, then it should return just an empty list. But if EL is in sync, then you want to get some specific response of that.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess looking into this for the Geth implementation, I've also talked to people in the Geth team recently, and they said like they are like willing to help a bit more with the PR. So I can get back to you on this as well. I mean, they're obviously busy with like other stuff now, but still, like I think they are like willing to help a bit more. Great. And then, yeah, I did want to also maybe get a small update on the metrics side because I'm starting to be a bit interested on that as well. Like, what are the metrics that are going to be very useful to use to track how FOCIL is doing? So, do you have any updates, Katya? Or otherwise, I can just like give it some more thoughts and like come back to you guys with something a bit more concrete.
Yeah, where I stuck is to run my local image, and this is where I need Jihoon's help, I guess so, because when I use his images, it works. I can run kurtosis, but I still don't see inclusion lists tab. But when I build my own Prism image, it doesn't work. I have missed blocks, so probably I will DM Jihoon and I need to solve this because I have a dashboard, but I build it blindless, so I need to check it before I open the PR. So yeah, this is
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Great.
great. Thanks, Jihoon. Yeah.
Yeah, I might do that as well, like very soon too, so we can also sync on like the metrics we want to see and which ones are maybe the most interesting to keep track of.
That's a good idea. We can collaborate on it.
Yeah, okay, great. Nice. And then, yeah, I guess as always, like on the testing front, I guess that's gonna come a bit later. I don't think more work has been done on the testing side, right? I did contact the what is it, Steel team at DF, which is mostly involved in the testing for anything EA related. And they said they are like happy to help. I know, yeah, I mean, most of the work has been like we haven't really gone into testing much, but like, is anyone from the EL side interested in like maybe joining the group with the steel and like starting to open a PR and like get moving in terms of getting their help on testing there? They're like really good. They just basically said, yes, we can dedicate some times, but we need someone that's accountable for like opening the PR so we can actually get the give you the help you need.
After I finish working on rebasing Prism onto Electra, I can spend my time there if it works.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. Thanks. And then in the meantime, if like any of the EL guys is interested in joining and like after you guys are like done with like the stuff you're doing right now, please let me know and I can just like add you to the group and then we'll start working with the Steel team on the EL side. Unfortunately, we don't really have like an equivalent of a testing team on the CL side, but yeah. Yeah, Mark?
Oops, I just meant to click thumbs up, sorry. But yeah, I'll reach out to you once it's sort of ready to start testing with them.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll also like yeah, if you guys are not ready, I can also like mention it another time. But I think it's nice to have people that are dedicated to testing and willing to help. So I didn't want to miss it or lose the momentum there. Cool. And then yeah. I think I also wanted to get out if like does anyone else have anything to say or any updates before I like go on my rambling?
Sorry, I probably missed something, but I don't see the link for the call in these posts. Is it there or not?
Let me check. I opened the issue, so it's my fault if it's not there. Let me see. Well, it's in the issue I opened, probably. Like the Zoom link for the call, isn't it? Let me just... I opened it like 3 hours ago, so it's very recent, but like this should have...
Could you share the link to the issue? Oh,
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Pooja also said that it would be very nice to have a bit of more time of me posting the issue and the agenda, so I'll do that as well, like trying to do it at least like 24 hours before. Yes, Mercy?
Sorry, I think Nisinda should go on because my network is kind of 4G.
Hi everyone. We've been working on a tool to visualize the mempool. This is just an update to inform you that there's some work happening. We had commented on, let me see. Yeah. We had commented on the agenda for today. That's where you'll be able to find most of the details for the tool here. But yeah, generally, this is just to inform the team that we have something currently ongoing. And this is also needed. The original team that I started working with was the Earth Panda Ops. And now working with Marcy, she brought it into she told me that also the FOCIL teams needed. So I'll appreciate any feedback or any contributions that we can get on that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Oh yeah. How does it interact with FOCIL per se? Is it literally just a mempool visualizer?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
How does it interact with FOCIL per se? Like, is there like a specific link to FOCIL, or is it a tool more generally to visualize the mempool?
Yeah, so it's meant to be a kurtosis package that provides a UI for visualizing different transactions from different nodes, specifically clients. Yeah, from the description, the original project idea, it seems that it was really meant to help in also checking things like different rules that apply to different clients. So yeah, I think it's kind of linked from that perspective where we could be able to tell different rules that work for acceptance rules that work for different clients as well. So I think that's where the link with FOCIL comes in here.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, we could basically visualize like the transaction characteristics, like how long it's been pending there, or like its priority fees and everything, and based on that also check like if the transactions are included by nodes using a specific client according to the rules that client has determined, which is pretty nice. Is that what you refer to? Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's great. So maybe now it's also about like highlighting visually, like making sure like the features or like the characteristics of the transaction we care about are visually there in the tool you're building, which will be very nice. Nice. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, kindly because one of the things we are having trouble with, including the Earth Panda Ops team, is just how to visualize, the UI. When you open that link, what do you see? What kind of interface, interactions, or transactions do you need to see? So if you have any idea on how you want that to work or very specific use cases, kindly just help us out with that, and we should start working on the front end sometime in the next couple of weeks. But if anyone has any ideas, contributions, just kindly drop them. Open an issue. We'll appreciate that. Thanks.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I think, yeah, related to Jihoon's question is like, what is a very obvious answer in the FOCIL call is like, yes, do we have a tool that is able to basically visualize inclusion lists, like all of them per slot? And then within inclusion list, like the transactions and the correct characteristics and how they were like, I mean, every transaction per inclusion list, I guess, and then like compare that to what transactions were included in the actual payload. So it feels like that's the most obvious question we care about on the FOCIL end, and it will be extremely nice to be able to visualize that in a nice way. So yeah, if you have ideas or want to discuss this, also feel free to reach out or maybe write in the Discord channel or directly to me. Happy to help.
Yeah, that's super helpful. If you have any more use cases, definitely I'll reach out as well if I need any clarifications. Thank you.
Sounds good. Anyone else wanted to add something? If not, yeah, just wanted to signal on the more, I guess, research side. I'm gonna try and spend a bit more time starting now or like in the next few weeks, really digging into what a good censorship resistant mechanism looks like for blobs. So if anyone wants to help on more, research, but like still very close to protocol development. So if anyone has ideas or like designs or mechanisms or like has even like thought about it quite a bit, I would love to collaborate and get insights or feedback from any one of you on what you think it should look like. Do we even need to look at something that's very close to FOSL for blobs, or can we just like go with a very different designs just because it's a very different kind of transaction with very different assumptions? So if you guys have ideas or want to work on this, I just wanted to signal like that's something that's gonna be quite a lot on my mind in the next few weeks. And yeah, just wanted to signal that. I will also like, I mean, as I make progress and write stuff and collaborate with people, I'll just like keep you posted. But like, I think like basically, as I said before, like if you want to make the argument, we can, FOSL can help scaling, and we can like basically not rely on local block builders anymore. We need to find extremely strong censorship resistant mechanisms for blobs and for liveness. So these are like crucial things if we want to like make the argument FOSL helps for scaling. And yeah, I think we should, as a yeah, I guess core devs or researchers or community or whatever, like it would be nice to have a bit more focus on this because it's not been researched too much until now. But yeah, if that's all, we can probably call it for now. Thanks everyone again for attending. I'm planning, okay, I'm gonna say it, so I actually commit to it. Like, I think next FOSL call, I want to make it a bit more, have a speaker and have like an actual presentation from someone. So I'll try to do that and make the next FOSL call a bit more organized and nice. But yeah, thanks everyone for being here and see you next time.
Thank you.